Morning guys, welcome back to the channel. Yes, I'm on my knees. Yes, Jack is behind me. So I again trapped underneath another set of stairs. We have got another consumer unit to change. Now this one here is this little beauty. I don't know whether anyone thinks that's okay. Look at that. So with this house there is future plans, basically future plans to have an extension, because there's a conservatory over that direction which is leaking really bad. It's all coming down. It's going to be an extension in its place at some point. So we've come in, there's decorators been in to do things, and he's fitted some downlights and some other bits and bobs there. So we've come round to check everything that's going on. Recommended the board getting changed because for obvious reasons, and the homeowners want it all completely tested, finding out that the house is okay before they go too far with any more decorating and all the rest of it. So that's what we're up to. So today it's been a lovely weather up till now, and today is absolutely torrential rain. So out there in the conservatory it is absolutely water's running through. There is a little utility room which I'll show you later on, which we've got to make safe because the water's coming in and there's all lights and obviously in the ceilings and all that sort of stuff, so we've got to sort that lot out. So today mainly we're going to be testing everything, making sure we know what we've got, because as we always do a test first, because if there is massive issues with this property, there's no point going any further, is there? There's no point taking any more money than what we've actually done. So if we test it all first, we know it's all good, then we can change the board and then crack on. And I feel it's the only fair way to do it for the customers. Now because the customer is working from home, we're going to set up a temporary supply which is down here. So our little temporary board, as we've all seen before, so we're going to put that on. The good thing about this property, which I think all of them should have, is on our meter we have got a mains isolator, and I think they should be fitted as standard because it makes life so much better. So having that, there's also on here, we used to have storage heaters, so that's going to come out because we don't need that anymore. There's no storage heaters here, as you can see from the boiler just here. So that's what we're up to. So like I've said, if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. I've got a aim of where I want to get to Christmas. I'd love to get 10,000 subs by Christmas, and I don't know whether it's possible. So if you can help along that journey, that'd be brilliant. So let's get stuck into the video. Right, so we've got our temporary board on now. So tails are all out from there, so it's literally just here all the way through to our board, and then that's going to be run out with an extension lead to keep everything going. So we've just took the all the power out. Obviously I haven't took this off yet, so I don't actually know what's going on here. Do you think it's going to be good? Ooh. Right. Okay. Nice. Right, okay. So I don't really know why. I guess that meter tail is probably of the blue colour and they've just taped it. So right, what we're going to do is try and brush this lot out. I'll prove that it's dead anyway, even though I know it is, but we'll just prove it for the sake of it, and then we'll brush these out, and then we're going to start testing. So we'll just go, so we'll label it all up and work our way through. So excuse me. Right, so on the board I've got some labelling, some not, but clearly I've got cables in every single one. So right, so we'll clean that out, test it's dead, and then get on with that. So thought I'd give you a little bit of an update. We have rattled through probably half of these circuits now, so we've got half of them tested it out. We figured out what this other one wasn't labelled up, so that is the oven. So what I've got as well is the cables come down here for all this kitchen stuff, tucks down and then it's off. So, and then it's run round into the kitchen. So far, I've got numerous faults on here, which is kind of what I expected. Unfortunately, it sort of screams like a previous owner, DIY, that sort of thing, and lots of alterations on top of all that. So it's not looking good. There's downlights in the kitchen which are they are non-fire rated, and there's habitable rooms above, so they've got to be sorted. There's also on here you've got, oh, hang on, crashing. So we've also got these new downlights that have been installed, and I've got them just Wagoed up and not an enclosure, so you've got singly insulated cables outside of an enclosure. We've got bits and bobs like that. There's downlights over here in these recesses. There's two alcove recesses, and again non-fire rated, halogens fitted onto lath and plaster ceilings, so it's all scorched. Also, we've got singly insulated cables as well, not in the enclosure on those. So the oven is okay. We've tested that. Oven's okay. That's fine. We've also got so the kitchen ring is okay. So we've tested that one okay, but the house original socket, sorry Jack, has failed because it's massive amount. I think my R1 R2 test is like 1.67, something like that. Insulation resistance fails on there. I've got neutral to CPC, neutral to earth, is joined somewhere as well. There's numerous faults. So I've got the rest of the circuits, but it looks like I've got the rest of the circuits to test here, but it looks like most of these are for this kitchen stroke conservatory area. It's a bit of a weird one because the conservatory, is on the original sockets for as far as we can see that side, but it doesn't really make sense why it is like that. Also, I know the garage supply is going to fail because that is just flapping in the wind on the outside, so we've got to sort that out. So it's just knowing what to do for the best for customers, isn't it? When you're in this situation, this is why it's so important to always do your testing first, because once you've done your testing, so like now we've got multiple issues, you would be in a bit of a sticky situation, wouldn't you? If you've already stripped all that out and you've got your new board ready, it's going to trip out constantly, and where do you stand? So now for me and Jack, we can put everything back in as needed, make a list for remedial work, and then crack on. So it's a bit awkward really, isn't it, knowing what to do, but it does my nut in when people come in and they say, yeah, I'm an electrician, I'll do that for you, I'll do that, and they're not an electrician, and they cause more headaches and more issues for the homeowners. It's just hard work. It's really, really hard work to trying to fathom that out. we've got a water leak as well in the conservatory, so we've got to isolate all that lot off because, you know, I've got downlights and stuff, I've got water coming through all there. We've got to isolate all that off and make all that safe. So let's say it's multiple problems, but you know, it's part and parcel of being honest, isn't it? Just saying, look, that's what it is. Do a thorough test, and then leave it down to the customer. You know, there's nothing else you can do other than list it all. I mean, this is like the top of the board. You know, that's how it is. So why on earth that's like that? And also, I don't know whether you can see that up there too. Best off just showing you, to be honest. So you've got your flue going out there, and you've got another cable that goes out, which is your garage supply, goes out with the flue. So yeah, you've got that's Jack's just pointed out another thing here. So this is your hot, okay, so this is your hot feed, runs through, and then I've got all my cables here running through with your hot. Well, you can see that very well. So you know, you've got risks there, haven't you, to sort out. Yeah, So, like I say, it's a good learning curve for you, Jack, isn't it?
Yeah.
On all these things, but
Definitely.
like I say, we'll just keep going, and then what I'll do is once I've got to the end of it, I'll try and upload some pictures of what bits and bobs we've found as we're going along. But yeah, so we'll keep going, and then we'll get back to you. The good news is we've got some really cool little dogs that keep mooching about and coming to say hello. They're hiding at the minute, so camera shy. So we've tested it all out now, and lo and behold, it's failed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and make a little bit of a list of the actual problems with it. So yes, I could spend hours just tidying all this and dressing it all in. No point. This is beyond what I think. So what I'm going to do, Jack is literally just in there struggling over there, putting the extractor fan hood on, so he's sorting that out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and write down in the iPad in notes of all the, look at my little mate, look, my little buddy. So we're going to make notes of all the issues, line them all up, and then what I'm going to do, I'm then going to come back to you guys, and I'm going to just relay all that information to you, and I'm going to tell you what I think needs to happen now, and also whether you think there's anything different, because if there is, leave it in the comments below. It's definitely a little cool little dog, isn't it? It's definitely I've seen better installations. So we'll make the list and then we'll come back, mate, won't we? We're going to come back. Highly amused, this dog, highly amused. Right, so let's go through the faults together. Okay, so I've got open end to end on the original house sockets. We've also got the R1 plus R2 on the socket exceeds maximum ZS values by a country mile, and that is because there's just so many of them as well. There's a lot of them. So I've got upstairs lights has failed on the insulation resistance. Also I've got the neutral and CPCs are joined somewhere. Downstairs lights, they have also failed on the insulation resistance. The downstairs lights in the hall, so they're the down lights, have got singly insulated cables exposed and they're not inside their enclosures. Living room downlights, which are the ones in the alcoves, they are also non-fire rated and also have got singly insulated cables not in their enclosure, and also because of their non-fire rated, it is a habitable room above there. So we've also got the garage supply, it's normal twin and earth that's just flapping in the wind outside, not connected to any sort of structure. Also it's twin and earth, so it's showing signs of the weather's have basically affected it and it's gone brittle. So there's that. The kitchen downlights, as I've said, non-fire rated on there, and obviously habitable rooms again. Conservatory / utility room, it's got water ingress because the roof's leaking. So we've known about that anyway, but obviously it's, you know, it all adds to the picture, doesn't it? So the downlights have actually got water ingress in them as well. I've got on the original lights the CPC and neutral connected. So these are just a quick snapshot of what's there. There's also no mains bonding locally to the gas meter, should I say. Yes, I've got it here, which is that fella here. So yes, I've got it there, but it should be within 600 mil of the mains meter where it comes in, unless it's not practical. Which, all right, I suppose technically you could say, oh, it's not practical to run it that way, but the outside of the wall's just there, so you could run it round even if it was decorated. However, there is obviously the board. Let's just ignore the board. The board's just knackered. There's no doubt about that. Nobody's arguing about that. However, this is just freshly decorated. all freshly decorated in here. So Jack's just putting those back up because I'm waiting for the client to come back, and we'll have a natter with them about what's the best course of action. The kitchen lighting is on its own. Okay, so from what I can gather from the installation is that the kitchen, when this was last done, has had new circuitry put in. So I've got a new kitchen ring, new oven circuit. They've got underfloor heating. That's okay. I've got underfloor heating out to the conservatory. 2 16 amp radials there. That's fine. So when I change the downlights, okay, we can retest those. Fine. We can put that circuit to bed. They're done. So in some ways, this kitchen can be almost unaffected. The main bathroom upstairs has had another circuit put in for the lighting. Again, so we can leave that alone. Okay, so we're not talking full. For me, I think it needs to be rewired because it's just, there's so many different faults, and I dare say, we're looking at the state of this, if I lift up the floor, it's going to cause loads and loads of issues. So what me and Jack were saying is we're going to look and potentially use like the Quinetic switching. So for the lighting circuits, there's one down here, one upstairs. So we're going to use Quinetic switching, so we've not got any risk of damaging that wall, because in here it's obviously it's decorated. You know, you don't want to be going, oh, it's all right, love, we're going to be smashing all your walls to bits. Cheers, Mike, champion. So I think we're going to do that. Run some radials out. So I'm going to radial for this living room, which is there, because there's only 3 sockets in there in the jack, I think, something like that. 3 sockets in there, and then the bedroom's upstairs. Another bed. So there's a little box room, as we call it. Another radial which is going to take into that one. It's got 2 sockets in it, and the master bed which has got 3 sockets in it, and then one more radial for the larger bedroom at the back. And then that should cover it. The garage can be left alone, because we're going to take that, I mean left alone, I mean disconnected, but not left alone as in, yeah, she's good to go, you crack on. Disconnect it, same as the conservatory lighting and sockets and stuff in there. We can isolate those and put a temporary supply in off the kitchen. So we've got a temporary supply in there. We can do it as weatherproof at the minute, because this potentially is all going to be tucked down and done an extension there. So at least that gets them going. Because you've got to bear in mind, you've got a washing machine that they need to use, and it's not getting wet at all there. It's completely dry where that bit is. It's just the rest of it. So there is loads of different options, but obviously now I've got to wait. Obviously when the client comes, she doesn't know this. I've got to go through this with the client, and obviously it's very awkward. It's very awkward, isn't it, Jack? All this, and also I hate this part of my job. They're giving people, it's like the Grim Reaper.
I like not doing it.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? It's not good. It's a horrible part of the job, but a necessary part of the job. But this is why I stress to people, it's very, very important that you do this testing first. You do a thorough test, because if you didn't, you are going to get yourselves in a bit of a mess with all this. Because now, as it stands now, they can pay me for my EICR, and I can give them all the information and just leave them to it. I've done my bit. You know, if they want to, they won't want that. They'll want it sorting. But for argument's sake, you can go, hey, look, and this is what I always say to my customers: look, I'll do an EICR first, and then we'll go from there. Which is what we've done. So what I will do, I will probably catch up with you, I think, once I've had a chat with a client, because at this point right now I'm not going to do any more. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll speak to them. The likelihood is that I'm going to be, next time you see me, I'll be in the van, because we're going to be doing anything more to this today. So we'll see you in the van. Right, you guessed it, back in the van. Right, just spoke to the customer, gone through it all. We've made a plan to rewire it and repair like the kitchen bits. So I've just got to go back to the office, price it all up and then send it through to them. I've also said, look, because her husband's not there, I'll go back and have a chat with them, and go through it all, because you know it's like when you're relaying information. So just going through, we're going to use the Quinetic switching, I think, for everything. So Jack's I've forgot my lockout kit, naughty boy. So we're just going to go through all that. So now I'm just going to show Jack on how to go through pricing and things like that with that, and then I've got to give him a date of when I can do it. That's going to be the issue. That is going to be the issue. So, like I say, a bit of a shorter video today. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. Jack, have you enjoyed today?
Yeah, right.
It's a bit annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a bit annoying.
It is, yeah. It is annoying when it's...
Because you feel a bit bad, because they've also, like I said, they've just decorated all their
that's the worst bit.
Their lounge, the hallway, and the lounge is pretty much recently decorated as well, so that's a bit of a pain. So I think what we've said we're going to do is, like I say, put these radials in and cause as minimal damage as possible. So this is why we're going to use the Quinetic switching. Give them the prices for that. And also I said that with doing that I can move the light switches in a better location if they wanted it, because one of them, like the hallway switch, is just smacked in the middle of the hallway, and it's a bit of a strange setup. So when you first walk in the front door, which is where you'd want that, it's nowhere near. So yeah, so that's the plan. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, don't forget to subscribe. Like I've said earlier on, I'm trying to get to 10,000 by Christmas, so we shall see if you've helped me out on that path. And if you have, thank you very much. If you haven't, just press the link. Let's all be friends about it. Let's not make it awkward. Let's just get on with it. So yeah, cheers for watching, guys, and we shall catch you on the next one.